Okay, fellas, today we're going to talk a little bit about aerial lifts. Last week we had an incident come up where two employees were operating an aerial lift. They boomed down and set it on a gate that was on a structure platform, one of those yellow plastic gates, and they cracked the hinges and knocked the gate off the hinges. And really, it could have been prevented if we'd had a spotter in place, which by our procedures, a spotter is required anytime an aerial lift is moving, whether it's transiting down one of our construction roads or whether it's positioned and it's moving the boom or the basket into position. Anytime that aerial lift is moving, it has to have a spotter visually checking to make sure they don't run into anything. Okay, also we want to make sure that we get a good inspection. We want to check our ground controls out, make sure that they're working properly, make sure that all the labels on the controls are legible, they haven't been painted on or whatnot or faded. We also want to check our main controls in the basket, make sure that they're working properly, make sure that the labels on them are correct and they're not faded and they're legible. Also, we want to check the aerial lift for any loose parts. We want to make sure the tires are in good condition, make sure that the outriggers come out or the wheels roll out if they need to, make sure it doesn't have any loose parts, wires hanging. Get a good inspection on it. Also, we want to check our basket, make sure our handrail systems are all in place, make sure they're not damaged. We want to make sure that the latches on the gates are working properly also. If we find any deficiencies with the aerial lift, we need to notify our supervisor immediately and get with the equipment manager. Also, like I said, anytime that the aerial lift is in motion, we have to have a spotter there. And in order for someone to be a spotter, they have to be trained, they have to go to the aerial lift training through the training department, and they also have to demonstrate proficiency with the ground controls in the event that they have to bring the guys in the basket down. There's also been some question about leaving the basket. When can we leave the basket? What's the proper protocol for leaving the basket? And what we got to do there is we got to get with our supervisor and we got to talk about it, get with the safety department and see if there's another way we can do it without leaving the basket. If leaving the basket is the safest way to do the job and other means of access is just not feasible, what we'll have to do is we'll have to issue a corporate variance for leaving the basket because it's not within our standard procedures to get out of the basket of an aerial lift.
An aerial lift variance is required before personnel will be allowed to exit the basket. A variance will only be issued if it is determined that no other means of access can be done safely. Exiting the basket must be done through the gate only. There must be a qualified operator in the basket at all times. The aerial lift must be turned off and is not allowed to move. Also remember, an employee outside of the basket must be tied off outside of the basket.
Okay, fellas, we all know that aerial lift usage is essential on the job. We use them every day, and it's a good tool. It gets us where we need to work at, and we can do it safely. We just got to make sure that we operate it in the manner in which we were trained. We only have qualified operators operating. We use the spotters anytime that the equipment is in motion because these aerial lifts can be very hazardous, and we want to prevent any injury and any incidents, equipment damage and whatnot from happening on the job. So please give us your full attention. Do your best whenever you're operating these, and we can do it safely. Thank you.